first of all, I'm going to go to Manage, MEP Settings, Electrical Settings. Once I get here, the dialog box, first it shows me things about the graphics. What line weights, what line styles do I want to use? Next, the biggest thing that we have here is how do you want your circuits labeled? So you can click in here, and these are your choices that you have for how to describe your circuit. And again, circuit description, that's what it's going to look like whenever you do it, whatever method you select. And then there's all your different phases, circuit rating, and there's how to number. Do you want to do this 1, 2, 3, 4? You want to group by phase, or you want to do odd then even? So you just adjust how you want to display here. We don't have to worry about angles. That's for conduit and cable trays. We'll go straight to wiring. These are your default settings for your wiring, if you in fact create wiring. We have wire sizes. This is based on materials. Aluminum, copper. You can add and delete from this material list. Same way with temperature, and same way with insulation type. Then down here, what we're doing is based on the amperage, it'll tell us what size of wire we're going to use. And we can also pick not to include certain wire sizes so that people don't have the option of using those. Correction factor, again, based on material and based on temperature. And you put your values down in this portion down here. Let's go to the ground conductof. Same principle applies here. Do it by materials. We can add or delete and any of these settings that we have right here. Then go to wire types. Here's where we can describe or develop our wire types and set all the parameters for them here. Then let's go to voltage definitions. In voltage definitions, again, just like it says, you give it a name, a value, and a minimum and a maximum. Let's go to distribution systems. Here, this is what we can set up so that Revit will know what type of distribution system to use. Again, here's all the different settings here. We can skip all the way down here, and let's go down here to load calculations. This is where we can set up all our different classifications for our loads. I can click right here. And so, for instance, you'll see here if I have an elevator, it's going to tell me there's a demand factor, and we're going to go look at those here in just a second. So you see equipment. Each one of these is listing a demand factor. So now, let's go here to our demand factors. So as we go through with each one of these, it'll tell you like for HVAC is constant and the demand factor is 100%. For heating, it's constant. If we go up here to equipment, same thing. Let's go to elevator. It's based on quantity. So you can do it by constant, by quantity, or by load on how you create these demand factors, and you can set the values right here. So I need to go and make adjustments to all of these. And then lastly, for our panel schedule, what do we want to do with our spares? And do you really want to include spares in your panel totals? And do you want to merge multi-pole circuits into a single cell? So these are some of the basic mechanical settings that we have here. Let's go to click OK. The next thing that we need to look at is under MEP settings, our building and space types. What this consists of is the overall building. So what type of building it is. If it's a library, this is all the information contained within that building type. And again, you can adjust any of these right here. Then we go to spaces. Spaces lets you get into individual rooms. But in your demand factors and all your information is going over here for each room instead of being for the overall building. All right, so let's click OK here. Let's go to our panel schedule templates. And let's edit a template. We'll just pick the branch panel here just to start with. This is what your panel schedule will look like once it's printed. You can go in, you can put in additional text. So I can come in here, I can add parameters to here. Just what all these are here, so it automatically picks up that information. And you see I have lots of ways I can manipulate the columns, rows, and the borders, shading, the fonts, and all this that you're used to seeing whenever you're using the schedule inside of Revit. Well, let's go up here to set template options. This is where we set up. We'll go to general here. So there's its width, how many slots it has, and then here's what we want to see in the panel schedule. Just like this. Now we can go to the circuit table. This will show how do we want them displayed, horizontally or vertically, and then you can click each one of these and see how it's going to display the information. Now we come here to our load summary. This is what our load classifications that we looked at earlier. You add them to the schedule, this branch panel, so that these are the items that can be connected to the panel. You could, on these, you go in and you can edit them, add and subtract here. But that's also some of our template settings. Once we make all our adjustments, we come up here and we finish the template, just like that. Once we've done that, so we set up our panel schedules, we set up our spaces and buildings, and we've adjusted our electrical settings. The next thing what we're going to do, we're going to actually start placing some devices. So I can go up here to systems, I'll go to device, I'll pick electrical fixtures. And there's a duplex receptacle. And then it automatically hosts itself to the wall, placed on vertical face. So it's automatically hosting itself to the wall here. So we can place all sorts of equipment and devices inside of here. Okay, we've got a telephone, for instance. I've got the symbology there for a telephone. And then what I can also do, if I go to my ceiling plan, I can then go in and place lighting fixtures. And they try to go to place on vertical face. I want to change that to place on face. Now I can put this into my ceiling grid. I can place my lights just like this. Now let's go back to our first floor. The next thing that we need to do, or it really doesn't matter what order, but you need to do this step also, is we need to go to electrical equipment and put in which panel board we want to use. And we come in like this and just place it. Once we've placed it, we want to select it. And what we need to do basically on this, is the only thing we need to do right away is give it a name. So like P-1 or something like that. Because we want to be able to identify it and find it if we have multiple panels located in our model. Now, to start drawing the circuits, we just go and I'll select one of these plugs here. And you'll notice my ribbon changed. Now I'm going to select power. And the thing I do is I go here and I select my panel board. What it's going to be here. Now what I can do is I can edit the circuit. And I can go in and add these other two. Just like that. Then I finish editing the circuit. Now I've got all my devices put in and they're all located on a circuit. Okay. So what I can do now is I can go in and I can create my wires. So all I would do is I would hover over one item, tab once, and then left click. Now I have the option to draw arc wires or chamfered wires. And I'll just pick arc here. And there's my home run. There's my tick marks. And these are adjustable. You have grips on here so you can move the wires around if we need to. So very, very easy to create wires. You do not have to create wires to create a circuit. Okay, that's something that people get confused about. Revit knows they're on the circuit even if there aren't any wires being drawn. All right. The next thing that I want to do is I want to go in and I want to look at my panel schedules. So I'm go here and what I want to do is I want to select this just like this and create a panel schedule. And then I can go and choose a template. So I'll pick that branch panel and I'll say OK. this will tell you give you all the information that we were looking for in our template, and it will automatically put things on a circuit for us. We can then select here, and you see we can move down, move across, or move to a different location. So once we have it in here, we can go in and rearrange things differently. All right, so that's our schedule there. Now, one last thing that we can do within Revit is we can put in spaces. I'm going to go up here and I'm going to select space. Once it gets inside the wall, it finds a boundary of that room, just like that. Then we can look by selecting it here. There are our lighting counts based on those 3 lights that we placed in there. So you get this information, and you can set the ceiling, the wall reflectance, and the floor, and your work plane. So this allows you to do some simple light calculations without having to constantly export the area, the space information out to different format. So this is showing you all the steps from beginning to end on how to design electrical circuits